This is Will Spencer from the Renaissance of Men here with the new 21 report and Jennifer Molesky. Hi, Jennifer. How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thanks. How did you find speaking at the 22 convention this year?
This year, I found speaking. I was much more nervous this year. I don't know why, but it went very well, and it's kind of a repeat of last year as far as what it does to me. Like, I really like the honor of being able to speak about the things that I care about. But then I'm kind of greedy in a way because I know that I spoke for my 1 hour, but I get so much more out of everyone, listening to everyone else. And even as soon as we got here, we saw you, we were talking about what you're doing, and then listening to the attorney.
Melissa Isaac.
Yes. And I just really get pumped up, and I listened to her before I spoke, and that eased me into speaking. So I'm like, yes, men, family, whatever,
Was that the title of your talk? Yes, man.
The title of my talk was "Feminism Sucks and the Government's Coming for You." That wasn't the title of it, but it was kind of the
awesome.
scope of it.
That is a pretty awesome title. What sort of things did you talk about during your talk?
I did get to slowly Agenda 21.
Oh yeah.
And it occurred to me as I was writing the speech and preparing for it that we are such a matriarchal society, and we hate the patriarchy so much that we kick men out of the conversation, and then that turns into hate and vitriol, and that turns into bad family, and then more men ousted. But my point to all of this is who's the main dude? Who's the main father? It's God the Father. So then we've kicked out God the Father, and we've created Mother Nature and Mother Earth. And we're such a matriarchal society that we don't even realize that we've created a single mother, with too many kids, and she can't handle it, the overpopulation. So who's going to come in and rescue? Well, not God the Father. The government will come in.
Bingo.
Don't worry. The government's going to come in. So now we have this global government that wants to come in to save Mother Earth, and all of us dumb kids are like, yeah, save Mom. But she's fine if we would just let back in God the Father, but we don't want to do that because we don't want to actually solve the problem.
Yeah, because that involves letting fathers back into the conversation, which can't be done because father is bad.
Yeah, they're dumb.
Yeah, super dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because my talk was about almost the same thing.
Really?
But from a very different perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, it was about how shame has been used to sort of chase men out of society, and where the shame comes from and what it's being used for. But enough about me. Let's talk about you.
Okay, because I was just going to start to ask you questions.
So did you find that the women were receptive?
Yeah, they're always receptive.
Okay, cool.
It was a lot of the same women as last year, so it was really fun. It's a fun, easy crowd. When my grandpa died a long time ago, there was a woman at church who was like bawling really, really loud. Okay. And my mom said, well, let's say her name's Aunt Irene. She said, Aunt Irene's always a good person to have at a funeral. Cause she represents the feeling that everyone's feeling.
Grief.
Yeah. And she's free about it. And there's a few women who are the equivalent to a good person at a funeral. Like, they're really great to have in the crowd. Like, they laugh at my jokes, and they get offended when I want them to be offended, and then that kind of gets the whole crowd in a alliance with the message.
Were the women there willing to listen to Agenda 21? I know that a lot of men go pretty hard about the larger political aspects, socio-political aspects of it. I just don't know this for a fact, but are women as interested in going that deep with it?
Well, no, I don't know.
I know you are, but
yeah, but I think at this point in my journey, I'm a bad representative. So I didn't touch too much on it. Like I told them, it's a 352-page document. I even tried to learn how to speed read for the event so I could read the whole Agenda 21. But it's a lot of lawyer speak and whatnot. But to answer your question, I only mentioned it briefly at the end, and it was very well received. I mean, I showed the United Nations map of where they want people to live in like the no-live zone. And all they want to do is take real men and women that are actual stewards of the earth and remove them and put them into cities. I was on Terrence Popp's podcast, and we were talking, and I can't remember exactly how the conversation flowed this way, but he he said something about feminism has shown the true nature of women. Okay, like hypergamous and whatnot. But wait, no, it's fine.
Okay, I'll go with you.
Okay, it's just a theory. But I said, I think cities have shown the true nature of women and true nature of men. Because in a city, so we have sent our children from the home into education, and we've
public school education.
Yes, sure. And then we bend the knee so much to education that we send them away from the home to a university to get a mostly impotent degree, which is very expensive. And so they have to stay in the city in order to pay off their shitty education. And within the city, there's no reason for real masculinity and there's no reason for real femininity because you have police protection, whereas out in the country or in a more broad community, you have to depend upon yourself and your husband and your family and your community and your neighbor. So you take that away. You no longer have to hunt for your food or have a desire to do so because you don't want to drive 2 hours to stay at Uncle Dan's. You know, I'm just going to go to the grocery store. And you are bombarded not with nature and dirt, but with aesthetic beauty. I always say if I wanted to be better looking, I would just move to New York for a year just to like figure out how the hell to do it because everyone there is so stunningly beautiful. But it's a different.
There is a lot of beauty there.
There is a lot of beauty there. Same with LA.
A certain kind of beauty.
Yes, it is a certain kind of beauty. Yeah. But that's where people they lose the touch of femininity and the dirt and the importance of living on the land, and they replace it with that kind of beauty.
Right.
So I think that it's not feminism. It is the education system and our bending the knee to it and sending our children away from us into the arms of a very malicious education system that has poisoned the well.
You're kind of blowing my mind right now.
Really? I don't know if I'm answering any of your questions because I start to go.
We're just gonna go. It's fine. But no, what's really interesting you said about the cities have removed the need for masculinity and femininity. You're right. And Arthur Kwan Lee was giving a talk, and he said the appeal of hip hop is the freedom to be hyper masculine, because that's the whole hip hop thing. You know, like that's ultimate masculinity turned up to 11. You know, violence, drugs, etc. Like that's the mythos that's sold in the hip hop world. Let's say,
interesting.
And that is an acceptable form of masculinity within an urban environment. And it's sort of like it's kind of like a law of the jungle type thing. You know. So it's like, that's why that's okay. That's the appeal of that in the urban environment because real masculinity and femininity aren't really needed. So it's sort of caricaturized.
It's a concrete jungle.
Yeah,
versus,
exactly. Yes. Yeah. So kind of getting my mind blown right now. Was that Terrence Popp's idea that masculinity and femininity have been eliminated by cities or your idea?
No, that was mine because he said that feminism has exposed women's true nature.
Yes. And I see you jumped off that.
Yeah. And I don't think it's an exposure of a true nature. I think it's...
I agree. I don't think it is either.
No, it's a perfect way to operate within that shitty realm.
Yes. And so I think it's a warping. Like it twists men's and women's natures. It brings out some good aspects of creative interchange. Like the value of city is like information can travel fast between people to create new ideas. But it brings out a lot of cities now bring up a lot of the worst parts of people. So is it the true nature? Like that's kind of dark.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true. Or men or women, right? The true nature, like, I don't know, misanthropy is gross.
I don't know what that word means.
Misanthropy means I hate humans.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, and that's also, I think, part of the Agenda 21 is to remove people and because they don't like, humans are the biggest parasite in the problem and kill the unborn children because it's a parasite. They don't appreciate anything. Is that true nature? No. Although that wasn't tied in, but I'm just saying it's that would be a bastardization or what word did you say?
Misanthropy?
Yeah, that would be. I agree. I should have said, yeah, I agree.
This is great. So have you gotten the chance to interact with some of the men going to 21 and patriarchs?
A few. Not enough to even.
Do they recognize you? Like, oh, I see your YouTube channel. It's
some
awesome.
Some people, which I'm surprised about now. My, since Dale has bought us the homestead, no. Since I've started homeschooling and staying home full time, and that's all I care about is the business of family. You know what I mean? So I try to care about my YouTube channel, and I do in a way, but it's slowly hemorrhaging.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I'm okay with that. I think it's time to just to practice what I preach in a way. But every so often I do have a message that I want people to hear, but that's not my main goal. So to your point, I'm always kind of surprised when people do recognize me.
Yeah, you guys left Colorado and you moved somewhere.
Yeah, West Virginia.
West Virginia. How's the homestead life?
Yeah,
going?
it's awesome. I love it. Yeah.
Talk about it more, because I did notice the shift in your relationship to your YouTube channel. I mean, I perceived it. I don't know that I could describe what it was until you named it.
Well, that's interesting. But I'll just answer your question. I very much enjoy it. I've said this before. So if we're gonna look at ourselves in a more natural way, I've had my spring season, which is like figuring out who I am, being controlled by parentals and everything that is controlling, and that was fine. And then the summer years, you're like, oh, here I am. Look at me, and you can go out into the world, into the city typically, and figure out the world. But now I'm in the fall and not winter years, but my fall season is here, and I want to be closer to the ground and the earth. And I do like the smell of dirt, and I hope I think I might die with a gun in my hand on a field, but maybe a cornfield would be better. That would be a nice way to go out. But I like the smell of the dirt and the corn. And I don't have any desire anymore to have a community. Like I just want my family.
No, you must have community. Well, what do you mean by community though?
Okay.
Your YouTube community?
Yeah, no, I don't feel like I need that. I used to have my meetup, and that was really successful for 2.5, 3 years. Every Tuesday for 2 hours, like 15 to 30 people would meet, and it was brilliant. I don't miss it. And I don't have any desire I don't know what's happening to me. I don't know if this is a phase, but I feel very, very comfortable at home with a few people that I love. You say community is important, and that is one of my messages. But what do you think about me not caring so much about community? Do you think it's just a phase?
I don't know. I can say that you need to do what you need to do for you.
Sure.
You ask me, it's like if you're feeling like you don't feel the need for community in your life right now, in all the different ways it shows up, whether that be online or in person, and you want to focus on your home, and you want to focus on your stepdaughter, and you want to focus on turning a house into a home and building a homestead, then I think you should do that. And you shouldn't feel the need to need anything that you don't need.
Yeah. I just kind of watch myself, and I'm curious about this version of Jennifer Molesky that's unfolding. If
you're going into the fall season, I think you're talking about it in sort of like one life kind of thing, where fall leads to winter and winter leads to whatever comes after life, right? But you could just be heading into fall emotionally for this year, because we are heading in. It's like, just go with your desire to be close to the earth and see what comes out on the other side. That's great.
Yeah, and maybe I'm in a more contemplative, I said a bunch of things on my YouTube channel that I believe, and I think now it's time to hunker down, read the Agenda 21, form new thoughts.
Yes.
To share with the community.
That could very much be the case.
That could be.
So have you enjoyed your experience at 21 over the past couple of years?
Yeah, this is my second year. And I can't recommend it enough. It's like, I've said this before, but if you've never driven through the Rocky Mountains and you drive through, you have to you're pumping the brakes, and it's just majestic and huge, and you can take pictures and be in awe. And then people will say, well, how was your trip? And you'll say, look at this, look how amazing. And they're like,
it's kind of flat.
It's like, it's just a stupid mountain. But when you're there, it actually fills you with an energy. And I think the same thing with this conference. It definitely fills me with an energy that I have never got anywhere else.
Wow.
And I think maybe it's because, well, no, for sure, it's because I'm surrounded by like-minded people. But unfortunately, I said last year, we had to fly here to find each other. But it should be the opposite. It's the people who don't want community, and who, the feminists and the people that hate the mythos of what?
Misanthropy?
Yeah, they should have to get on a plane to be
Methodist?
no, not Methodist, to hang out with each other. Like, I wish that was the minority. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just to see that I'm not alone is really nice. And then to hear these brilliant people articulate what's itching at the back of my head is really wonderful for the past 2 years. This time we flew in yesterday and we leave in a couple hours. So I didn't have, it wasn't as much. I'll never do that again. I think we'll come here for the whole weekend to absorb everything that.
It's hard to step away from the homestead.
I know. I know.
So when you get, yes, you'd say that you get like a shot of energy out of coming to the 21 convention.
Yes. Hold on. I want to really gather what I. It is. No, I wouldn't call it that. I would say like a rock on a. Oh, yeah.
Sling.
Yeah. And coming here, like I have all this energy, and this helps me cast the aim for the next year.
Oh, fly fishing. Okay.
Well, no, it was still a sling.
Okay.
I've never used the sling, so I'm only imagining maybe this is how you fly fish. But to have the aim, it gets me on course instead of, that's how I would explain it.
That's amazing. Was this your experience last year too?
Yes.
And which direction do you think 21's taking you this year?
The same. Like, I just want, it recalibrates me to be more aware of my influence at home and how I can improve it. And I always want to be a better wife, always, because I love Dale so much, and I just want him to be like the happiest person ever. So it's good to get different perspectives on how to do that. And it just makes me more aware of who I am, how I show up. I hate that terminology, but how I show up in the relationship.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I like it.
So you're saying some really beautiful things about, being a great wife to Dale, and, about going into your own season of going, we might say, like closer to the ground, and maybe taking a step back from social media and all that. So, but for women who are thinking about coming to the 21 convention or 22, or men even, like, what would you say to them? They're kind of on the fence, and they're seeing you have a very powerful experience. You're like, what would you share with them to show them, in your own words, what's going on here?
I mean, I don't know if I can phrase it better than I did. Like, if you want to see the mountains and if you want to feel them, you're gonna have to come here. I can't, I think that your question is kind of reminiscent to some negative men in my comment section will say, like, what's the bonus of having a wife? Like, I can't tell you what love feels like.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't do that. It's its own beautiful thing. And it's so wonderful that I can't explain it. So that's how I would explain it, is I can't. And I don't know. I mean, what do you do for yourself? Every day you do some self-love and you read a book and you're trying to always be better. Why not do this thing and be around other people who read the book and do the thing? And maybe it'll help you sling and take that aim for the next year. I mean, look at you. You came here last year and I interviewed you. And
yeah, you did.
And now the tables have turned. And I wonder if this energy slingshotted you and propelled you for 1 year, where now the roles are reversed. That's a big flipping deal.
That was the first time, in fact, now that I think about it, A, that was the first time I'd ever been interviewed on camera in that way. And B, it was like Sunday morning. Because because I'd been up all night talking to Jack Donovan. And so here we are on a Sunday morning again. The tables are turned. I was up quite late last night as well.
Isn't that cool?
So it's amazing. Thank you for pointing that out.
Of course. Yeah. So I get a direction that takes me all year, and you just hear it. The person who's watching this, you just hear it. Dale lives it. But we have evidence right here of why you should maybe attend. I'm not saying that in 1 year, like, you're going to be interviewing me.
You
might, but nothing negative could ever come of this. This is a beautiful thing.
Couldn't say it any better.
Okay, perfect.
I just have one more really important question.
What is it?
What's your favorite lasagna recipe?
Oh, God. I like manicotti.
Okay.
And it's my mom's manicotti recipe, and it's just meat and cheese and seasoning, and that's it.
I know you're taking a step back from your YouTube community and some of your online work, but is there some place you want to send people to look at your content or read or no?
Or yeah. I mean, you can always go to, I have like 80 videos at Jennifer Molesky on YouTube. And they're fun. You know, like you'll watch one, and if you like it, you might rabbit hole and really like me, or you'll downvote it and wonder why I'm invited here, and you'll dislike me. But that would be it's fine.
You might though.
It's fine.
You're right.
Yeah. But there's I have a lot of content, and I stand behind everything I've ever said. So, and I have nothing new to say. And if I do, I'll make a video.
Look forward to that.
Cool.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thanks, Will. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. This is Will Spencer from the Renaissance of Men, here with the new 21 Report and Jennifer Molesky. Thanks so much.